Hi there, I'm James Lebeck, and welcome back to the Life After Losses video blog. Yeah, it's been 30 years since my first major loss, and some anniversaries feel like milestones. This one, it just feels real. They're not polished, not dramatic, just a little marker of how far I've come, and how I had to get through a lot of not ready before I ever felt steady again. Now, if you've ever told yourself, I'll start living when I feel better, this one's for you. Because sometimes we have to live through the mess before the healing shows up. Let's talk about what it means to do it anyway. In entry 241, do it anyway. 30 years. It still feels impossible to say that. And this month marks 30 years since my first major loss. Grief is a strange relationship with time. I mean, on paper, 3 decades should feel like a lifetime. But in the body and the heart, it can still feel like yesterday. Sometimes I catch myself remembering a moment so vividly, how the air felt, the sound of a laugh, the way everything shifted in an instant. And I realize that kind of loss doesn't vanish. It integrates itself into who you become. Now, I was young when it happened, just a 28-year-old kid. Too young to fully grasp the shape grief would take in my life. Too young to know that the long road ahead wouldn't be a straight line or something that could be neatly wrapped up in 5 stages. I didn't have the words then. I only had the ache. And yet, here I am, 30 years later, and I'm not over it. Not past it, but changed by it. Shaped, grown, still healing in some ways. Still bumping into parts of me that carry that early wound. And of the biggest lessons I've learned in those 30 years, you don't have to wait for grief to be done before you start living again. You can't wait. Because if I had waited until I felt better, I might still be waiting. There were birthdays I showed up with tears in my eyes. There were holidays where laughter came with a lump in my throat. There were conversations, performances, big decisions, quiet moments that all peppered with sadness or anxiety or uncertainty. I've gone to weddings holding joy and envy in my same breath. I've danced while my heart ached. I've celebrated while quietly grieving what might have been. And still, I lived. I didn't always feel ready. I didn't always feel whole, but I kept showing up. And over time, that's what made the difference. Not a sudden breakthrough, not waking up one morning miraculously healed, but the slow, frequently clumsy, always courageous choice to participate in life again. And that's what no one tells you early on, that healing doesn't arrive in a box with a bow, that sometimes life moves forward before your heart is ready. But that doesn't mean what you're doing is wrong. It just means that you're human. So if you're reading this or listening to this and you're waiting to feel okay, to feel like yourself again, waiting for the day it won't hurt so much, I want you to hear this. If you wait until you start to feel better to start living, you might be waiting forever. Go live your life. Do it sad, do it anxious, do it uncertain, because healing doesn't always come before experience. Sometimes the experience is what heals you. And no, that doesn't mean forcing yourself to pretend everything's fine, and who has energy for that, really? It means letting go and showing up exactly as you are. It means giving yourself permission to live inside the mess, not beyond it, and to not worry about what other people think. Look, grief is a lifelong companion. So is joy. So is curiosity. So is connection. You don't have to choose one over the other. You just have to stay open enough to let more than one thing be true at the same time. You know, if I could go back and tell myself anything from 30 years ago, it might be this. You don't have to wait to feel whole before you start living again. You just have to begin. Because the first step back into life isn't always a big one. Sometimes it's just saying yes when you'd rather say no. Sometimes it's taking a walk even though hiding under the sheets feels safer. Sometimes it's letting someone in just a little. And sometimes it's choosing not to disappear. So here's your invitation. For this week or this day or even just an hour, take the walk. Make the call, sing the song, book the trip. Start the thing. Do it anyway. So what's one thing you've done, even when you didn't feel ready, that helped you come back to life? Go ahead and drop it in the comments, and thanks for watching.